Okay guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, hi, my name is Natalie. For those of you who are back, welcome back. Glad to have you back with the Nat fam, the Victoria fam, whatever you want to call it. But today we are going to be doing a book haul. These are all of the books I have gotten within the past few weeks, including Kindle books and physical copies of books. And the stack beside me is just a little unorganized, but we're gonna get into it. I am super excited about this and trying to decide which one I want to get into. I love reading. If you can't tell by the shelf behind me, I have a shelf full of books and the shelf is literally almost full. So a little tempting to buy another shelf, but don't know where we're gonna be next. But I just want to go ahead and get on into this because if you're as excited as I am about looking at these books, maybe it'll help you come up with ideas on what to get, so on and so forth. So let's just go ahead and get on into this. The first set of books I'm going to go through are actually on my Kindle. Reason being because my husband got me this Kindle. I love to travel with this Kindle. I love to read on my Kindle. So it just makes my life so much easier. So we're going to go to library. I am really curious because I feel like I have... Okay, yeah, so I actually bought that book on my Kindle too. Makes sense. Oh my gosh. My foot fell asleep. Okay, so book number one that I have on here is The Tattooist of Auschwitz. It takes me a hot second because I truly have to find like the synopsis for this book. So this is going to take me like a hot minute to get open. But yes, the first book I have is The Tattooist of Auschwitz by Heather Morris. It's opening slowly but surely. And if it doesn't open, you know what? I can easily pull this up on my iPhone. I want to just talk about this. The Tattooist of Auschwitz is a 2018 Holocaust novel by New Zealand novelist Heather Morris. The book tells the story of how Slovakian Jew Lel Sokolov, who is in prison at Auschwitz in 1942, fell in love with a girl he was tattooing at the concentration camp. So this is essentially going to take place during World War II, during all of the time of Hitler and Auschwitz and all of the sad things that really went on in the world. I honestly think this is going to be such an interesting book. I kind of started reading it a while back, and a lot of the books on my Kindle are books I have started reading, just haven't finished, which is a little bit of a disappointment. But I mean, it's never too late to start reading them. The next book I have is The Song of Achilles by Adeline Miller. This is on my Kindle as well. This is a story that is told from the perspective of Patroclus, who is exiled by his father to live in the court of Peleus, soon falls in love with his host's son, the superhuman Achilles. From childhood, his demigod status means he is swifter, more beautiful, and more skilled than all of his peers. I got through 17% of this book and stopped. It was one of those books that was a little bit harder for me to get into, so I'm hoping I can reread this. I still consider this part of my haul because this is one of the last books I bought before I bought some of these books recently. Honestly, I think this is like $2 on Amazon. Maybe that's because it's a book on the good old Kindle. The next book I have is The Duke and I, which is one of the first books out of the series from Bridgerton by Julia Quinn. And this is essentially about the Duke of Hastings. Is this it? You know, Daphne, Duke of Hastings. They get together, they love, they have a kid. Point blank. Book's of course going to be different than Netflix, but it is based... The Netflix series is based off of the book, and I want to read these books before I rewatch Bridgerton. Season 3 is coming out, and apparently they skipped a book. Don't know what Netflix is doing, but maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll be good. The last book on my Kindle is November 9th by Colleen Hoover. When I was looking for books to read, Colleen Hoover popped up. All I heard was Colleen Hoover, Colleen Hoover, Colleen Hoover. I was like, what is a hype? I don't get the hype. I have read 12% of this book, and I have loved it so far. But I want to reread it, or at least start where I stopped, because I know what happens in it. But this is a standalone contemporary romance novel. Fallon meets Ben, an aspiring novelist, the day before a scheduled cross-country move. Their untimely attraction leads them to spend Fallon's last day in LA together, and her eventful life becomes a creative inspiration Ben has always sought for his novel. This book, and just Colleen Hoover books, I've heard such amazing things about, and it really makes me excited because I want like a collection of Colleen Hoover books. I love it. I love the Kindle talking about all these books. The books can get pricey depending on what you want, but there's also Kindle Unlimited, which is a monthly fee, but you can get like all sorts of books for free. So those are the books on my Kindle. We are going to switch over to all of my like hard copy books that I have. The first hard copy book I have is Getting Over Mr. Right by Chrissy Manby, and apparently it is an entertaining, clever, and very funny story. So I like to read the synopsis for you guys, whether y'all like it or not. I find these beneficial. So it says, been dumped, get mad, but not this mad. Have you ever had your heart broken? How did you get over it? If a pint of ice cream chewed you up and you were able to delete his number and start again, then you're a weirdo and this book is not for you. But if you reacted with denial, begging, or a spot of casual witchcraft, then you've come to the right place. This is one woman's journey from love to lunacy and back again. If you ever recall past heartbreaks with an acute embarrassment and an urge to go into hiding, this will make you feel better. Sure, you may have sent his new girlfriend a bunch of dead roses, but did you spend $1,000 on, psychic hotlines and a voodoo curse? This girl really must have had a hard time. It is about 280 pages. But y'all, this is like a pretty thin book. I found this at Second & Charles. It was $4.75. $4.75 for a book is pretty good because I have spent anywhere from like $2 to $16, $20, $30 on a book. Next book. I have seen her books everywhere. 28 Summers by Eileen Hildebrand, however you want to say it. Y'all, when I was a Book of the Month member and I just joined Book of the Month again, her books were coming out like crazy, and she's like a 3P author on there. Those were like the first books that came out before they actually came out to the public. I remember when It Ends With Us was like all over the place. Maybe it's because it wasn't as big then. I'll have to look at when It Ends With Us comes out. But I remember that was up there, and now I'm like, wow, like, I could have been unread this years ago. But 28 Summers, go for this. The sweeping love story is Hildebrand's best yet. So when Mallory Blessing's son, Link, receives her deathbed instructions to call a man, to call a number on a slip of paper in her desk drawer, he certainly does not expect Jake McLeod to answer it. So late spring of 2020, Jake's wife, Ursula de Guernsey, is the front runner in the upcoming presidential election. Link is sure there's been a mistake. How do Mallory and Jake know each other? Flashback to the sweet summer of 1993. Mallory has just inherited a beachfront cottage on Nantucket from her aunt. She agrees to host her brother Cooper's bachelor party. Cooper's college friend, Jake McLeod, attends, and Jake and Mallory form a bond that will preserve through marriage, children, and Ursula's stratospheric political rise until Mallory learns she's dying. Inspired by the classic film Same Time Next Year, which Mallory and Jake watch every summer, 28 Summers explores the agony and romance of a one-weekend-per-year affair, the dramatic ways this relationship complicates and enriches their lives, the lives of people they love. Y'all, this book was $8.95 from Second & Charles. The cover is so beautiful. Just look at it. It's just going to sit on the shelf, and I want to collect all of her books because I have an array of them. But I'm super excited to read this. This one is a little bit more of a hefty book. It's about 430 pages. So this one's probably going to take me a little over a week to read because of school. But I'm super excited to read this. Y'all know, if we're doing a book haul, we gotta have some Nicholas Sparks here. Because I have probably like 7 or 8 Nicholas Sparks books up there that got me back into reading along with Book of the Month. And I love it. It's just the hopeless romantic in me. So the first book I got is Nights in Rodanthe, however you want to pronounce it. It is apparently from People, Bittersweet Romance Blooms, You'll Cry in Spite of Yourself. Reeling with heartache after her husband abandons her for a younger woman, this is already gonna be sad. Her husband abandoned her for another younger woman. Adrienne Willis flees to the small coastal town of Rodanthe, North Carolina, to tend a friend's inn. Here she hopes to find the tranquility she desperately needs to rethink her life. But almost as soon as she gets there, a major storm is forecast and a guest named Dr. Paul Blanner arrives. At 4, Paul has just sold his medical practice and is trying to escape his own shattered past. Now, with the fierce nor'easter closing in, 2 wounded people will turn to each other for comfort, and one weekend set in motion feelings that will resonate throughout the rest of their lives. I will say, I love Nicholas Sparks books because I'm from North Carolina. I'm a North Carolina native, born, bred, raised, and still live here. These books are based in North Carolina, so it's so cool to just see this, read through it, and know like, hey, one day I can go visit this town. This book is about 220 pages, and I got this for $250. $250. The next book is The Wedding. I have desperately wanted to read this, and you'll see why. After 30 years, Wilson Lewis is forced a painful truth. His wife, Jane, has fallen out of love with him, and it is entirely his fault. Despite the shining example of his in-laws, Noah and Alice Calhoun, this is recounted in the notebook, and their 50-year love affair, Wilson is unable to express his true feelings and has spent too little time at home, too much at the office. Now his daughter is about to marry and his wife is thinking about leaving him, but if Wilson is sure of anything, it's this: his love for Jane has grown over the years and will do anything to save their marriage. With the memories of Noah and Allie's aspiring life together as his guide, he vows to find a way to make his wife fall in love with him all over again. I like the fact that he implemented the notebook into this book. I feel like it definitely can make it a little bit more relatable. Granted, it's nice to have different plots to books, but I think this makes it more interesting because it has somewhat of a connection to the notebook. So if you've ever read the notebook, watch the notebook, you'll always have that connection. And the cover is so cute. These little smaller books are cute too. Plus, they were quite a few dollars cheaper than the other ones, and this one was $2.75. The last Nicholas Sparks book I have is The Choice. I have never seen this movie before, but I always have wanted to. So, but I like that I'm reading the book before I see the movie because then I can kind of compare them both. So it says Travis Parker has everything a man could want: a good job, loyal friends, even a waterfront home in small town North Carolina. There we go, North Carolina again. North Carolina is winning in this. In a full pursuit of the good life, boating, swimming, and barbecues with his close buddies, he holds the vague conviction that a serious relationship would only cramp his style. That is until Gabby Holland moves next door. So we're going to have Travis Parker and Gabby Holland. Despite his attempts to be neighborly, the attractive redhead seems to have a grudge against him. Still, Travis can't stop trying to ingratiate himself with his new neighbor, and his persistent efforts lead them both to the doorstep of a journey that they never could have foreseen. Spending the eventful years of young love, marriage, and family, The Choice ultimately confronts us with the most heart-wrenching question of all: how far would you go to keep the hope of love alive? Sorry, y'all, I had to think about this. It's honestly a really interesting story. It seems like it'd be an interesting story. Nicholas Sparks is coming to North Carolina in September in Beaufort, and he is signing books, but Beaufort is 2 hours away from me. It's on a Sunday. It makes me sad. The very last book is Pride and Prejudice. Maybe I'm on this Pride and Prejudice game late in my life, but I had a lady from church tell me about it, and I have honestly seen really mixed reviews about Pride and Prejudice. Some people say they love it, some people say it's a classic, some people say they hate it. They're just throw it out the window, there's no use. And maybe it's because of the character development. I'm not exactly sure. I will admit, whenever it comes to learning about characters, I hate sitting there and hearing about them, but I feel like with a classic book like this, it makes sense. And I can tell y'all what Pride and Prejudice is about. It has a quote on the back that says, "It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of good fortune must be in want of a wife." This is by Jane Austen. Pride and Prejudice follows the turbulent relationship between Elizabeth Bennet, the daughter of a country gentleman, and Fitzwilliam Darcy, a rich aristocratic landowner. They must overcome the titular sense of pride and prejudice in order to fall in love and marry. So this is going to be just an old-time tale, and this is one of Barnes & Noble's special edition ones. If you can't tell, I think this is absolutely beautiful. I'm so excited to actually sit down and read all of these books because I think it's going to be so amazing. Y'all, that was my book haul. Those are all the books. I'm going to try to have book hauls every month. Just depends. I have a book coming in for a book of the month, so that's going to be next month's one. By the time you'll see this, I will have my September, what's it called? my September TBR video up. But thank y'all for watching my videos. I hope you enjoy and I hope to see y'all soon. Bye guys!